Oh, hello, and welcome to Aldenterigamortis. I'm Dr. Leviathan.
No, that's me.
Oh, you sure? Because I think I'm going to act like you for this one.
Really? Because I hated it more than you.
All right, as long as we're on agreement. I'm actually Review Cultist.
And I'm Dr. Cultist. Wait, what?
What? And we're here to discuss those internet stories most creepy and most pasta. Tonight we've got Super Mario 64.
Hooray!
No, that's a ghost in the Mario universe.
Don't say anything.
For those of you just tuning in, welcome. And if you would like to learn about creepypasta before listening to a podcast about creepypasta, go Google it, because it's probably easier. And if you would like to for some reason, to get context from this podcast's episode for Super Mario 64, go on creepypasta.wiki, and we're not going to wait for you.
I'm pretty sure it's
Super Mario 64.
Creepypasta.com too.
Is it? Okay.
It might be. I don't know.
As you can tell by our enthusiasm, we do not like this pasta.
Spoiler alert.
Oh my god. I can always edit it out. So let's just dive right into this this hellfest. Super Mario 64 starts with the writer saying that he used to love Super Mario 64 as a kid, and he used to play it a ton when he was at his aunt's place. But he gets this pop-up one day while watching a YouTube video that's saying, "Hey, you can get a Super Mario 64 cartridge for $10." And
all you have to do is send a $10 bill in a self-addressed envelope.
We'll get to that in our discussion of this. So he sends out, like, days after he sends the $10, he actually gets a package, and it's got a blank. Well, it's got an N64 cartridge that doesn't have the official wrapping or anything like that, but just has duct tape on it saying Mario. So he pops it in, and it starts up the loading screen, and there's something wonky and glitchy and
really?
like...
Who would write on duct tape?
I know.
Anywho. Like masking tape. That's what you use. I mean, in a pinch, painter's tape, because it's basically just masking tape, but green.
Yeah. So he... Sidetracked. So he... the title screen gets all glitchy and wonky. That kind of disturbs him. Shuts it down, turns it back on. Doesn't touch it, and just starts the game. The game doesn't even start at the beginning with the monologue and the intro cinematic. It just kind of starts them off in the hall, in the castle that has all the paintings, which is how you get to levels in Super Mario 64.
Oh, he's in a castle?
Yeah.
But the princess is in another castle?
Yes. I know, it's shocking for a Mario game. And he goes to Babam Battlefield portrait, but for some reason...
it's the only one that'll work.
Yeah. However, it's blank for some reason. So how does he know that's the one, except for maybe that...
Well, I can assume that he played the ever-living shit out of it when he was a kid, so he knows which paintings are which.
That is true.
Also, maybe even just process of elimination.
That's true. Okay. So he dives in, and the picture suddenly switches to a fireball with like a creepy smiley face. So he thinks something's wrong, and then he gets this thing. It's like turn now, or turn around now, or turn away as the mission descriptor, but accepts the mission anyways. So he gets in there, and Luigi's there, which is odd because Luigi's not a model character in Mario 64. So and Luigi runs off, so he goes chasing Luigi. Chases him all throughout the level. Meanwhile, the level is completely devoid of living NPCs. All the enemies seem to be lying down on the ground like they're dead. They chases Luigi up the big hill, and doesn't have to worry about the giant cannonballs that are rolling down the hill. And gets up to the...
Because they're not.
Yeah, because they're not there. And gets up to the top of the hill, and he's perplexed because there's a cabin up on the top of the hill that's never been in the Mario game. And for some reason, he thinks that's just really odd, but he doesn't go into description about that, of why it's so odd, aside from it just being a cabin that's run down on the top of this level. So he goes inside and finds Luigi has hanged himself. So Mario looks is like downtrodden and horrified. And then it kind of just swirls out, and Mario pops out of the portrait, slightly downtrodden by the whole thing. So then he goes on to a new section of the level, and...
Well, hold on. You're missing what happens between levels.
Am I? Okay, sorry.
With the picture?
The picture... I cannot remember.
Of him and his family?
Right, yes. I was getting to that.
Well, yeah, but you weren't.
Okay.
You skipped right over it.
You want to continue?
Well, yeah, between when he comes out of the level, he's in a hallway and there's all the toads sitting there or standing there. They're not doing anything, and there's a picture of him and his family, of like the guy and his family, not Mario and his family.
Yeah. And it's
but
not from,
queerly enough,
yeah.
It's not from when this game would have been released. It's from like a couple of weeks ago. He could remember posing for the picture.
So
that's odd.
Yeah, it's odd, and at that point in the story, we'll get into it later. I'll talk about that later. So he goes into that.
I wouldn't want to break your flow.
Yeah, I know. It's so good, eh? So he goes into the picture.
At this point, he actually tried to turn off the N64. This is before he jumps into the next level again. Tries to turn it off, hits the on-off, but flips the power switch. Nothing.
Doesn't do anything. Pulls it out.
Unplugs it.
No.
Nothing.
He can still control the game, apparently, even.
Yeah, even with
all
the power cord unplugged. Now, here's what I never... what I just realized he didn't try. Unhooking the cables from the console to the TV.
Yeah. That might have saved him. Well, might have spared him the rest of this pasta.
Might have spared us the pasta, you mean. Oh, okay. He jumps into the photo of his family. See? That's why you couldn't skip it. Only one mission was available, I guess. And it was called Run, Don't Walk.
Yeah.
And it started in a flooded hallway with platforms floating on the water.
And then
he had to go, and he turned back, and there was this black void, and it was creeping up on him, and it eventually just...
consumed Mario.
Yeah, consumes him, and then he comes out of the painting, and...
The painting is slightly decomposed, like the characters.
Yeah.
Or the people in it are slightly decomposed.
Yeah, the picture's fine, but the people in it are...
And he immediately goes, it's like, what the hell? This doesn't even... This looks too good to be photoshopped. We'll get to that after. And so he goes back into it, and he does this a couple of times. Let's not describe the whole thing.
Oh, okay. Cool. I'm down with that. There are various levels.
Like,
they end poorly for him in various ways.
Yes.
Yada, yada, yada.
And he dies several times in it. Like, Mario dies several times and gets kicked out. And every time he comes back out of the level, the bodies are... the family members are more and more decomposed until eventually they're just skeletons posed up. It's just the gratuitous graphicness that the guy's describing. Like in some of the later ones, like maggots pouring out of their eyes, out of holes and stuff in their bodies.
I would say that it wasn't really gratuitous. I think he was trying to be gratuitous, but
yeah,
it was just
an attempt at
bland that it wasn't gratuitous.
Yeah,
I don't know if that can be a thing.
Yeah. So. Eventually, they're all skeletons in the pose, and then
he loads up the other save file that's on the cartridge, because back before internal memory or memory cards, well, back when N64 didn't have memory cards.
Yeah, and everything is pretty much the same. Like
it's a family of skeletons, but
they're posed
slightly different.
It's almost like it's a different family. Dun dun dun, and it ends. So this one, I read through.
Have at it.
All right. So, I'm going to just... Yeah, thank you. I'll take the soapbox. Boom, boom. So, I will, I did... The writing isn't too bad.
Yeah.
It's not great. It's not good. But it's not, the worst one we've read. So I will give it that.
No, okay, it's not the worst. But, I mean,
come
on. That's...
I know. I'm just saying, that's... Okay, hang on.
That's burying a hurdle beneath the ground and winning the race.
With that in mind, yeah, anyway... It also, the initial bit of this, it had potential. It utilized, the nostalgia of a very popular N64 title. So it got people to read it because of that, which was an intelligent thing on the writers'
I mean,
Mario.
everyone who had an N64 played Mario 64, because it came with the damn console.
Yeah. And then that's where my good points end. Here's the bad, or at least for me anyway, as I was reading this.
See, and I gotta argue with you on the writing, because
I mean, again, I know
there were a lot of mistakes that, for some reason, I just didn't read over. They just completely ejected me from
the whole reading.
From the whole thing, and I was like, really? Because that is just glaringly wrong.
Like what?
Most of the time, I can't find one off the top of my... I can't think of one off the top of my head, and I don't want to...
Scroll through.
I don't want to scan through this just to find it, because that would entail reading parts of it. But just, okay, you know how sometimes, people use the wrong there.
Yeah.
And you just read through it, and you're like, oh, I know what you meant. Whatever.
For some reason,
this one was whole wrong, completely the wrong idea of a word in the space, and just really, posting on the internet, and just edit,
Yeah.
Read through it once, and you will find it.
Yeah.
But that's just me.
Mm-hmm. Okay, fair enough.
So,
like I said, it wasn't great, but it was eh. But
the format of the writing is fine, but it's pretty hard to fuck that up.
That's true. All right, back to the bad. Why would you give money in cash to a pop-up ad site? That was the first thing that came to mind. Was wait, so you? I can understand liking video games and then getting kind of slightly excited for when you see something like an ad or something for it, but be a little bit more cautious with your money, sir.
Well. And okay, I don't know when this pasta
it was
came up.
Unfortunately, we don't. Yeah, this.
Okay, but let's assume. How long have creepypastas been around?
Since 2007, 2006.
Okay, 2007. Do you know how old that cartridge is? Do you know how prevalent that cartridge is?
Since the 90s.
You could walk into virtually any.
I was actually looking for it this weekend at a local game store.
Yeah, you could walk into any pawn shop or shit.
Or retro video game stores, because they are a thing nowadays.
Well, I mean, they're probably going to charge you
a
premium amount. But, you go into a pawn shop where they're just fuck, another Mario 64 cartridge. Because how many of them are they going to have?
Probably a couple.
Because
people didn't really
everyone had the damn thing, right?
Yeah, it's true.
So, even if they just get a new console from someone, odds are they've got, Mario with it. So,
yeah. No,
you could probably walk in to a pawn shop or, a hawk shop or whatever,
and find
Mario 64.
Yeah.
For probably about $10.
Yeah. It's a kind of an interesting hook for a creepypasta, to get the artifact of the creepypasta, but at the same time, it's also way too ignorant of the character itself to be doing that.
If it had been a nickel,
yeah,
I'd have been like, you know what, the Sam's gonna cost more, but it's only a nickel.
Yeah.
Because then it's you know what, I can understand why you've tried. Because, hey, it's a bloody nickel.
Yeah, exactly.
Personal opinion.
$10, and especially you have to send it in. The guy's asking for cash, not PayPal. So this story was written around the time of PayPal, and he just that's what was glaring, stood out to me right at the get go was I would not be I don't are you also the same person that follow that will give money to the Nigerian prince that needs help?
Because if so, I've got an email for you.
Yeah.
That is the height of stupidity, but
I mean, it is something that happens
because it's only $10, but at the same time,
you're giving your address to a complete
$10.
stranger for $10 at the same time too. Stranger danger, man. But anyway, yeah. So next part is what's so wrong with the cabin? Is it a different? We needed some more detail. I wanted some more detail on why it was so glaringly wrong to have it in Mario. Is it wrong? Is it differently modeled than the rest of the world? Is it realistic? More details? The most we get is that it was a broken down cabin.
I'm guessing that it just wasn't supposed to be there.
Yeah, but okay, fair enough. But I mean,
and
yeah,
I get the feeling that it was really just run down. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like it said, like it was run down, but that's about much detail. But I don't know, like there was parts of this where I kind of would have liked a little bit more like reason or a little bit more like description of why he was or why he thought it was so wrong in there.
That's okay. I can make you happy about that.
Yeah.
Would have made it longer. Yep.
Yeah. Overused creepypasta video game creepypasta tropes. This felt like I started reading it, and as I started reading it, I mean, this is weird coming from me, I will admit, because I love video game creepypastas.
And you love tropes.
Yeah, I do love tropes. But this, for some reason, rubbed me the wrong way and felt like every other video game creepypasta I have ever read. Like, the haunted game cartridge, which I love that trope, but at the same time, like, I don't know, it's just gratuitous, like adding gratuitous amounts or trying to add gratuitous amounts of gore to make the video game seem twisted. Just stuff like that, like just random, like just off and on tropes. Just kind of like rubbed me the wrong way, and I cannot believe that I am saying that.
Also, I just didn't find this one remotely scary. Like, at all.
No, I know, exactly. Like, I was...
Like, no, a picture's become a skeleton.
Yeah.
Like, you know?
Also, and that's actually my next part. Everything can be photoshopped. There is nothing that can't be photoshopped in terms of photos or pictures. Like, if you have the know-how, you can do it. This one... Okay.
And I mean, and this is someone who, from the sounds of it, made a fucking game.
Yeah, like they hacked a game. Like like the person who gave them this copy probably hacked the game. That's what it seemed like. It's not so much supernatural. It's just like at first it doesn't seem like anything supernatural. It just seems like this guy has got a hacked ROM of Mario and and whatnot. So yeah, like the person is probably capable of doing stuff like having like the models change every time you go into the photo or lose every time in the photo. Now this next one is a little is
and I mean how okay
yeah.
this one actually almost becomes realistic at this point, or believable that this could actually happen to someone because all of that's there. The picture, if it's online anywhere
on Facebook,
it can be found. Yeah.
Also, it was taken a week ago, like a week after he sent the photo out or the his address out. So this hang on. This had the workings to be a cool little like realistic stalker killer kind of creepypasta, or somebody who was like trolling him and his family through the video game. Like they get the $10. They look up the address, who's on the address. They get a photo of the most recent photo.
They obviously would have had to like it would have been a targeted attack because they sent him the pop-up ad, right?
Yeah.
So they probably would already know how to find the picture and yada yada yada.
Yeah, so it had the potential to have a really cool like divergent and go into something really cool. It didn't go that way.
No,
and I was sad. I was actually sad for it not to go that way because that's where I was hoping it was going to, and it didn't. Now this is something that
what actually could have been really cool was he got like down to one last life and then started beating levels, and then the game ends like you know he gets I don't know he does enough levels, and then the screen pops up and it's like your family is at this address. You know, you win the ultimate prize.
Nice.
See, would have been awesome.
Exactly. Like there was a lot. This one had the beginnings had a very good like it was kind of shaky, but it had this like the elements in it to be a decent story.
This whole thing fails from start to finish, but if it had have gone in that direction,
it may have redeemed itself.
I would have forgiven the beginning. Yeah. I'd have been like, all right, let's all right, you get a pass.
Yeah. My next thing is that it like this one can kind of go in the good section, but it's more like bad. It felt like I was reading a dream that the writer had of a haunted cartridge. Like, nothing seemed really grounded. Like he can't turn it off. He unplugs it. It's still going on. Like, but he can still control the game. Like it's just when I was reading it, the way he was describing things, it just felt very dreamlike.
Also, that like the whole unplugging it. I mean,
we've seen it in games in ones before.
But that turns off like okay, it was his console.
Yeah,
he dug it out of the closet or whatever.
Yeah,
it turns off like that.
the console's fine. Not the cartridge is the thing that's corrupting.
Exactly. But the cartridge doesn't have a power supply for the console.
Exactly. So, I guess he was going for like, oh, it's supernatural bullshit. At the same time, I need a little bit more, like, because nothing when in the gameplay aside from the weird photo was giving us the impression that it was supernatural. As far as I was concerned, it was a hacked game.
Yeah, and it's not like anything was happening to him. Yeah, you know.
Yeah, exactly. There's some like vaguely like horrible things that were happening, but nothing was afflicting him.
Exactly. It was just happening in a game. He was physically fine the whole time.
Yeah. Also, it felt very rushed. Like the whole like I did say like earlier that like the writing was okay, but kind of. But at the same time, like reading through it, the pacing was really bad too.
Yeah, it was taking its time early on,
and then just
rushing. Was just like, okay, here's a level. Okay, here's a level. Okay, here's a level.
Yeah.
The picture did this. Here's a level. Picture did this. Here's a level. Picture did this.
Yeah. What was compelling him to go on? Like, he mentioned this a whole bunch of times, like, I was really freaked out, but something was compelling me to keep playing.
Because if he hadn't have, it would have been over.
Yeah. Like,
and I mean, that's not a good enough explanation.
Yeah, no.
That's just, I run into this with movies a lot, like, why are you people doing this?
Yeah.
Oh, because the script says so. Right.
Yeah. Like, there is a photo of your parents and your family from the week before in this video game that you got for $10 by sending it off to an address. I would be flipping my shit over like the possibility of somebody stalking my family and myself. I would be turning off the game as soon as I saw that photo, or I would be leaving the room and getting somebody.
I'd be calling
the cops,
my family,
or them. Yeah, that too. Yeah, exactly. Like this. Like again, it still screamed hacked game. And somebody. It felt very much like it could have gone Pale Luna on us, but it did. But it wasn't. But not nearly as good. Again, like I said, this had a lot of potential to be very creepy, realistic creepy stalker murder pasta that uses the nostalgia of gaming, of a gaming product. But went overboard with the supernatural in terms of like what the game thing was doing. And again, I can't believe I'm siding with that over supernatural.
Well, and I mean, you know me. I love my supernatural. I love my freaky, unexplained phenomenon. But yeah, this one
should have gone differently.
Yeah,
should have been. Yeah, I mean, and not like just hang on.
This one's flawed on its core concept.
Yeah, like
someone went in, like the guy who wrote this or gal.
Yeah, we don't know
who wrote this. Went into it with the wrong idea. Mm-hmm. And
nothing against them, by the way. Like, I mean, we've been ripping into this, but at the same time, like, we don't have any ill will toward anybody who writes these. It's just. You wrote a bad creepypasta.
Sometimes.
Okay. Well, that's Levi. Send your hate.
But I'm not going to tell anyone which ones offend me and make me hate people who I've never met and don't even know their names.
Yeah. And actually, we don't even have a name for this one. I got this one in one of the first. Well, this was one from actually one of our first batches of suggestions. And I got actually the Know Your Meme website for it. And so I checked it out back then, like just to see like what it was about. And this is actually, I think, one of the main Super Mario 64 creepypastas out there that kind of inspired a whole bunch of them. But when I went back to Know Your Meme, it had been flat. Its page essentially on that site had been read or had been flagged because it wasn't concrete enough. So like it still had the pasta, it still had the thing, but it had no information about like what the character, like who wrote it, when it was written, and stuff like that. So a little bit confusing. As far as I know, there's no actual YouTube video readings of it, but that does kind of make sense because it's not a very good pasta. Yeah. So, yeah, that was the good and the bad of Super Mario 64. My rant of it. I'll just get off this soapbox now. Anything else you would like to add, Leviathan?
Just a fun little anecdote, really, because the entire time I was reading this, now I haven't owned a Nintendo console since Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
So I haven't played a Mario game since Super Mario World.
Yeah.
Because I'm never a big fan of Mario games, but when they came with console, I'd play them. Mm-hmm. And, I kept getting sidetracked because I kept seeing a side-scrolling Mario game, not a 3D Mario game. And that was just a really fun thing for me.
Well, I'm glad you got some entertainment out of this one. Yeah, I mean,
I can't, like, I've seen gameplay
funny,
of Mario
actually.
64,
Yeah.
so once I caught myself and I was like, oh, right, this is a 3D, I could revert
back to it
and, you know, start visualizing the proper scenarios, but yeah, I just kept having to bounce back and forth because my mind just kept automatically going to a side-scrolling Mario.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like I say, that was a fun little tidbit that I just felt a need to share.
No, indeed. Yeah, no, I mean, I went into this, like, kind of, like, it's like, okay, like, I know this is probably going to be a bad pasta, but, I mean, hey, it's Mario, it's a video game creepypasta. How bad can it be? It got bad. like, you know it's bad when I am, like, picking holes. That's, like, as soon as I started reading this, I just, like, I had, like, my pen and paper, and I just started writing down things I didn't like about this one. Like, I really didn't like this one. So, as far as recommending it, I wouldn't recommend this one.
Oh,
ever.
No.
Like, it had potential.
It's a train wreck.
But, yeah, exactly. It was also
that
a train
is
wreck.
the
There are cool
only-
ideas. Like, the ending was kind of cool.
No, it wasn't. That's the only way I can recommend it, is for people
watch.
who love watching, like, a veritable train wreck of a movie and just
you'd like
love
to read-
watching it.
If you'd like to read a
fun.
creepypasta.
I can understand people doing
It's like
that, because
watching The Room.
I like watching train wrecks of movies.
Yeah. But what I meant, like, was, like,
And
it was an interesting idea
actually,
at the end when...
Another thing that because I was reading this, my girlfriend was in the room beside me, and he hadn't even put the game in yet.
Yeah.
He pulled out his N64, and I stopped. And girlfriend's like, what's wrong? Is it that bad? Because she's used to being in the room while I'm reading these, and I'm like, well, let's ignore the fact that someone mailed a $10 bill because of the internet, but, you know, no PayPal, and actually got what he ordered.
Yeah.
Let's ignore that.
Yeah.
And he pulls out an N64 console, but he didn't have a copy of Mario?
Yeah, I mean, maybe... I mean, I don't actually...
For me, that was the unrealistic thing.
You know what? Actually, thinking on it now, I actually got an N64, like, 10 years back, like, for Christmas. Like, back when that was the console. I don't think we have the N64, or the Super Mario 64.
Okay,
so
but
it
I'm
didn't
just saying...
Yeah, I know, like, the
it
original
does
ones
seem
would have
queer, doesn't it?
Yeah. It is a little weird. I mean, like, yeah.
That was the moment that
You realized.
I mean, okay, the guy sent in a $10 bill in the mail. That
made no
started
sense,
taking me out of it. The fact that, you know, he tried to, you know, go to the same webpage again later, and he couldn't because he had the sense of mind to write it down.
Yeah.
But he doesn't have the sense of mind to think that maybe I shouldn't send a $10 bill.
With my address to this address. Like, I don't know. Like, maybe are we just more cautious than the average person, or is this something that happens that people do? Like, listeners, is this something like, are we blowing this out of the water? Like the whole like sending a $10 bill in the mail? Like, get back to us on that. Seriously. Like,
and if not, you can send.
You can send $10 to. Oh, fuck.
But, like, okay, so that didn't take me out of it, because, you know, it takes all kinds. Some people's mission in life is to make other people feel smart.
Yeah.
But the fact that he had an N64 console, loved this game this much.
And didn't have it already.
Again, he probably could have taken that $10 bill to a pawn shop.
Why couldn't he have gone back to his aunt's and asked her and given $10 to her?
Like, there's so many reasons.
You know why? We wouldn't have a story to read.
Because the script said so. I know,
Yeah,
but I still don't like it.
I know. I'm with you on that. Like,
I still gotta point that out.
There needed to be a better hook.
Because there are so many ways could have gotten it. Now, if he hadn't have had an N64 console, he had have, you know, gotten that for his $10. $10 for an N64 and a cartridge, even if it is just Mario, that's a hell of a deal.
Yeah.
I would try it. Well, I wouldn't, but I can understand why someone would try.
Yeah.
And then, it would have solved that problem. Because, like, oh yeah, I always, he sees the pop-ups, like, I used to have fun going over to
My aunt's.
my aunt, play Mario. Yeah, I'm gonna try it.
Yeah.
Anywho.
Yeah. Okay, so, again, bottom line, would not recommend.
Yes. And if I keep talking, all I'm gonna keep doing is just give you more reason to not.
Yeah. So, that is our main course for this episode. Now, we do have a side order of a much better pasta and a much shorter pasta. We've started doing...
And it's a real treat.
Yeah. We've been getting some micro pastas recommended, and this one was recommended by a listener named Josh.
And, I mean... These just can't be whole episodes. I mean, if
So
we were to do an episode of these, we would have to cover like 10 of them, and that's just
too much.
Yeah.
So we've decided to have them like as side notes or side orders on the, your meal of this episode. So this one
we
called...
give you a heaping pile of shit, and here's a little dish of something nice, something to cleanse your palate of the shit that you just had to suffer through. Or at least we had to suffer through.
Yeah.
Hopefully if you listened,
you
won't.
Also, you enjoyed the hell out of our rant. So this one was called Bad Dream. Leviathan, take it away.
Daddy, I had a bad dream. You blink your eyes and pull up on your elbows. Your clock glows red in the darkness. It is 3:32 a.m. Do you want to climb into bed and tell me about it? No, Daddy. The oddness of the situation wakes you up more fully. You can barely make out your daughter's pale form in the darkness of your room. Why not, sweetie? Because in my dream, when I told you about the dream, the thing wearing Mummy's skin sat up. For a moment you feel paralyzed. You cannot take your eyes off of your daughter. The covers behind you begin to shift.
Dun, dun, dun. Yeah.
I don't know why his daughter's British and he's not. I don't care either.
It's fine.
British little girls who are British with British accents are way creepier than North American little girls.
They mostly come at night. Mostly. Yeah. Yeah, I liked this one like immensely. I read it like within 5 seconds and got like a chill down my spine when I finished it, and I then proceeded to send it to a bunch of buddies, and they all look. One of them sent back. It's like, the hell, dude, that was freaky as hell. So yeah, this one. This is what you do when you're on how to do a creepypasta right. It's very short. It's barely a couple of sentences, but it conveys more creepiness than a couple of the ones that we've done in that short amount of time.
Yeah, it's based on its length and the amount of creep get out of it. This probably has the most bang for your buck of anything we've done on this show to date.
Yeah.
It's like it's not overly creepy. Personally, I don't get the reaction you got from other people, but that's just me.
Well, it's one of the other people that don't actually really read a whole lot of creepypastas, so when they got this one, they were just like, they looked at me and I was like, that was, yeah. So, there's not a whole lot for me to say other than it was a fun little creepypasta. I'm glad I read it. Like, my day was richer for it, reading this. So,
and I mean, I read it right after Marius 4, so...
yeah. I take it you were happy about that?
There was a reason I read them in the order I read them, because I had a bit of a heads up on the Mario one from you that it was, that you didn't like it. So I was like, okay, it's gotta be bad, because,
Not even the cultist can,
You'll enjoy shit on toast if someone serves it to you properly.
That's true.
But you had said, I remember you talking about this one, like, once upon a time.
Yeah.
And... you said, yeah, it's incredibly short, but it's kind of good, and that's why you wanted to, add it to this week's episode, and that's fine. So I saved it for last, because I knew it wasn't. I knew that I would want something to lift my spirits a little.
Yeah.
Or if it, if you were wrong, then at least it'd be better than the one I read.
Yeah.
And if it was worse, and I just spiraled into this deep, dark depression, hey, I wouldn't have to worry, because I'd be dead, because I would have killed myself.
Wow. Okay. Chipper as always, Doctor.
I've been in a dark place ever since you've started making me read all these shitty passages.
Hey, the start of 2015 wasn't bad. Anyway, Yeah, no, I just liked this one because like it kind of puts you in the mind puts you as the character, like as the father thing. So it gives you an extra level of immersion in this little story.
Yeah, if you have a penis.
Yeah. And so like again, I think that's just like that's what really like makes this one as creepy is that it's talking to you as if you're the dad.
Well, yeah,
and
there's no bullshit of setting it up. It's just right into it.
Yeah.
Here's the creepy part. There's no build up. There's no. And I mean, what happened? Like nothing really happens.
No,
covers shit.
Yeah. So I mean, like it
And
could have
you're
just
like-
been a dream, but the way the little girl said what she said to you, makes it like sound like there's something more sinister afoot. So it could be completely normal, like the mom is normal and stuff like that. The little girl just had a bad dream about telling her father about the bad dream, and then the monster killed her dad or something like that in the dream. And that could, or it could be something supernatural, but we don't know because they cut it there at the sheets move.
It's like the last couple of minutes of Pet Sematary.
Yeah.
The movie did a really good job. The book did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So like honestly, this one I would recommend. Like it's not even a waste of time. Like it's less
not
than
even
5
a matter
seconds.
of I recommend it because it's short.
No, not at all. Like
I recommend it because it was fun, and even if you don't have a penis, give it a shot.
Creepy. It will remain creepy. Yeah. So not a whole lot else to say about this one. Really good immersion for the amount of time it gives you or it takes from you.
Yeah, you're reading it for like 8 seconds, but for 8 seconds you're
that person
in a bedroom and
Your
there's
daughter's
a small child who has woken you up.
Yeah, it's the kind of feeling that you got if you'd liked the part in Signs where it's like, Daddy, there's an alien outside, or there's a monster outside my room. Can I have a glass of water? And then Mel Gibson looks down, or like looks at his daughter, brings her out, gets her water, and then looks out the window, and you see the creature on the rooftop. And it encapsulates that moment, like the feel of that scene.
I was drawn into it, and my digital alarm clock has green light, not red.
All right.
I finished and I was like, wait a minute, my alarm clock green.
Nice. So yeah, that was Bad Dream.
So what have we learned this week? We've learned that I kept seeing Mario in a side scroller, and that, wait a minute, my alarm clock's green.
All right. So that is this week's episode. If you want to read Bad Dream for yourself, or if you want to have somebody read it to see what their reaction is, you can check it out at creepypasta.wiki.
Didn't I already do it?
You read it, but I mean, like, if somebody wants to, send a link to their buddy, like I did. Creepypasta.wiki carries.
Or you can send them a link to our, this episode.
Oh yeah. Self-promotion. Awesome. Love it.
You gotta know when to be a whore.
Yeah. So, if you would like to send us a comment, put it in the comment section below wherever this gets posted on YouTube, on the Tumblr.
And I think what you're trying to say is Bad Dreams. It's on creepypasta.wiki and .com.
Yes. Sorry, I didn't mean to say that. And if we're on iTunes, so if you'd like to send us a review, that would be awesome. We'd like to hear how we're doing. And you can send us messages on Twitter. We at Review Cultist or at Dr. Leviathan. And you can even send us emails at aldenterigamortis@gmail.com. That's aldenterigamortis@gmail.com. Where you can also send us suggestions for other creepypastas. Or send us an email or something if we are like just jaded, cautious people, and like sending somebody $10 is a normal thing on the internet. Not through PayPal. Also, if you would like to send us something PayPal. No, we're not that yet. We're not there yet. So until next time, I have been your host, Review Cultist.
And I've been Dr. Leviathan.
And this has been Al Dente Rigamortis. Sleep well.